Shalom, everybody, and happy Hanukkah. Today we're studying Parashat Mikkets. Parashat Mikkets is, I think, almost always being read during Hanukkah. Somewhere around, it's always connected to Hanukkah. And we have here uh, the miracle that is basically the connection between Joseph going through this impossible miracle, coming out of jail, being a Hebrew slave in the Egyptian jail, and waking up as an Hebrew slave in Egyptian jail, and then he goes to sleep at night as the strongest person in the Middle East, the viceroy of Pharaoh. How could that happen? And here we cannot just not to read the story from the Zohar. First, the story from the Torah, Genesis 41:1, Vayi miketz shnatayim yamim. And it was 2 years later. That's a simple translation. But in Hebrew, it doesn't say so. The word being used is miketz. Miketz means putting an end, death, demise, total annihilation to something. So when we're talking about an end, there are many ways in Hebrew to say an end, but if you use the word ketz, this is, you always say about, villains when they die, they reach their like brutal end. That's ketz. So this is the beginning of the parasha, just to get everybody the connection. In the previous parasha, we get the amazing story of Joseph. And Joseph has dreams. His brothers are being annoyed by his dreams about coming to royalty and that they will bow down to him. That's how the dreams can be easily be interpreted. And after that, he also is very aloof, Joseph, which means he's not such a good friend to his brothers. More than that, his father, visually, it's very clear that his father, Jacob, has some more inclination to Joseph than the rest of the brothers. And that's a recipe for another problem. And finally, they try to kill him. Then they decide to sell him, to make long story short, and they sell him as a slave to the traders. The traders take Joseph to Egypt. Potiphar buys Joseph, and in the household of Potiphar, one of the most powerful people in Egypt, Joseph is reaching very soon, very fast, into being the top managing person of all the belongings of and the assets of Potiphar. We know that this allowed Joseph to know the Egyptian economy. That's being his internship in the Egyptian economy. And we learned that everything that we have to go through, although most of the times we do not understand what's the purpose, there's always a purpose. Otherwise, we don't go through things. And we'll see that Parashat Mikkets talks about it a lot. And we have over here, the story continues as Joseph, in last Parashat Vayeshev, Joseph is now dressed up as a representative of Potiphar. He's dressed up nicely. Joseph is one of the most handsome men ever walked on earth. And the wife of Potiphar falls for Joseph. She wants him. She's trying to get him to her room. He's running away for many, many times. Finally, she traps him. Nobody's in the house, and she traps him. She brings him into her bed, and he runs away, leaving his clothes in her hands. He's running away. Why? Because he prefers to follow the legacy of his father. He cannot betray his master. He cannot betray his own legacy. He cannot do that. And he knows she's going to be really angry and she's going to ask for revenge. And he accepts that. And she asks for revenge. He's thrown into jail. And 10 years after 10 years in jail, he's already running jail. Okay, he's the master of jail. However, he cannot get out of jail. And then come the wine steward and the baker. The Pharaoh gets upset about them. He sends them down to jail. And over there, they both have a dream on the same night. Joseph interprets the dreams for the wine steward, and he tells him, your dream means that in 3 days, Pharaoh is going to take you out of jail, put you back in your position, and you will continue to give Pharaoh his wine and also be very close to his ear. And the baker tells Joseph his dream, and Joseph tells him, that's something else. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will get you out of dream and get your head off your shoulders. And he will hang you, and the birds of the sky are going to eat your flesh. And that's exactly what happens. However, the wine steward forgets, because Joseph tells him, when you get out of jail, remember me. I'm here from the land of the Hebrews. I was kidnapped, sold as a slave, and I don't belong here. And I'm here, although I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't hurt anyone. Please remember this favor and get me out of jail. We finish Parashat Vayeshev, where it says that the wine steward forgot Joseph. Why did he forget Joseph? There are many, many explanations. The explanation that fits the story the most is Joseph, the moment he said what he said, he was shocked. He thought he's ready. He realizes he's not ready. Why? It's not the problem that he asked the wine steward for a favor. You always have to. Otherwise you need to get to make a living, which means you need to tell people that sales. You need to tell people how good you are in what you're doing, so they hire you, or they buy products from you, or they let you take any project to do for them. You have to sell. Life is about selling. Without selling, you have to sell yourself to a potential mate, potential whatever, friends. You have to talk. You have to tell people who you are. But there is one little problem. How do you do that? If you do it out of neediness, dependency, this is idol worshiping. And we have to remember, when we're talking about the 10 most famous of the 613 mitzvot given on Mount Sinai, the ones inscribed over the 2 tablets, the first one says, I am the Lord your God. I took you out from the land of Egypt, from the house of slavery. Where is the mitzvah over here? What are we talking about? And the answer is very simple. I am the Lord your God. I got you out of Egypt. You're not a slave anymore to anyone, to anything, because there's only one master of the universe. The second one, known by mistake the second commandment, although it's not a commandment, it's a mitzvah. And the Zohar says this is an advice. The second one says, you should not have other gods but me, which means the moment we develop any kind of dependency, which means I'm supposed to put my merchandise in front of other people and explain to them how good it is for them. I'm supposed to ask people to hire me in order to make a living. We have to sell. However, I have a little problem with it. And what's the problem? That when we do that, if we do ask people to participate with us by making a living, participate, I said participate, because if I am saying if you don't buy from me, that's the end. Whatever, I am turning into idol worshiping. I'm already transgressing the first two. So when Joseph told the wine steward, please remember me, Joseph was startled. He said, I felt dependency. I have to ask for help. But I know that the only help will come from God. He is going over always to send a messenger. Who is the messenger? None of my business. The same way as the uh, very old story about this guy that he was living in his house, nice house by the river. However, the weather forecast said that there are going to be really a lot of rains up the stream of the river, and there's going to be a flood. So the local authorities simply asked everyone to leave the town that that person was living in. But the guy said, I believe in God. I trust God. He's going to save me. Finally, the authorities even offered trucks that pass by on the streets to take people with all their belongings, whatever they could carry, to leave the city. But our guy is not leaving the city. The authorities, they come, they knock on the door, please leave the city. He says, no, I'm not leaving the city because God is going to protect me. I trust him. And then later on, the water is starting to come up, and now the house is full with water up to the first floor. So he's standing on the second floor, waiting for God to save him. So some rescue team, they're sailing with a boat among the houses. Maybe somebody is trapped. They find our friend. Come, get on the boat. We'll take you away because the water is still, the flood is just in the beginning. No, I trust God is going to save me. So I think most of you know already the story, but I'll continue. Then, finally, the water is really now up, covering the whole house. He's standing on the chimney. A helicopter is passing by, a rescue team. They see him. They send him down a ladder. Just take the ladder and start climb the ladder. We'll save you. No, I don't need a saving. God will save me. He does. So finally the water come up and he drowns. He comes up to God with a sour face. God, I trusted you. How come you didn't save me? God said, I didn't save you. I sent you a bus. I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. How can what else could I do? And the answer is simple. I can ask for help. I can use others offer for help. We need to use each other's help. Oh, but we have to remember where it says love others as you love yourself in Leviticus 18:19, the verse finishes, I am God. Why do we care for other people? We care for other people because that's a way to connect to the Creator, not because we need them to love us in return. If we expect them to love us in return, most of the chances and most of the times they're going to disappoint us, and then we're going to be upset. And that's not right. You're not supposed to depend on other people's love or help. You're supposed to ask for help. Why? I don't know. Who's God's messenger? Who's the angel who's going to help me right now? Financially, health-wise, a physician, whatever. An idea, an advice, I don't know. I have to remember only one thing. The only help is coming from the Creator. The Creator is the one who's sending his messengers. So, was Joseph supposed to ask the wine steward for help? Yes. You have an opportunity, use it. Use all the possible opportunities. You have to make the effort to build a vessel. However, did Joseph make a mistake? Yes, he did. He felt it. He asked for help because he said, oh, this is my help. No, we have the Creator, the light of the Creator as the only help. How would that help come? We have no idea, says the Zohar. Our eyes cannot see, our ears cannot hear, our brain cannot imagine. How the help will come? What is the help that is really good for us? We have no idea. We make the effort just to show the Creator that we're building the vessel. The moment we build the vessel properly, the help will come. How would it come? We say many times, as Einstein used to say, the logic that got you into the problem would get you out of it. Which means don't try to tell the Creator how to save yourself. Why? You just need help. You know that you need help daily, hourly. You have to remember you can come up with propositions, ideas, try them, always having doubt. Not about God's help, but about that I know what to do. More than that, you should have certainty that you don't know what to do. You just do whatever needs to be done, so the help will come from the real source. This is basically the story, and therefore, the Zohar about Parashat Mikkets is very precise to explain what does it mean Mikkets, why using the word Ketz to show that 2 years are over. 2 years were over because for 2 years, Joseph was doing teshuvah. He was trying to reconnect to the Creator in a better way, till he felt that he is ready. Because if he has dependency, you cannot be a king. As a king, you're not dependent. You ask for help. You give orders, but you're not dependent. You know how to maneuver the powers at your hand, but you're not owing anyone anything. This is very important because it's a very fine-tuning issue that will tell the difference between addiction and independence, creativity, or simply boredom and stagnation. This is where we have to shine. So when the Zohar says about it, Vay Mikkets, Rabbi Chia ptach v'amar, Rabbi Chia opened and says, and he's quoting from Job 28:3. Ketz sam lachoshech. God puts the demise, the end, the abrupt end to the darkness. ולכל תכלית הוא חוקר אבן אופל וצל מוות. היקרא יתמר. קץ שם לחושך. די הוא קץ לשמאלה. What does it mean? Ketz. Why Ketz? This is the demise, the end of the שמאלה, of the left column. דהיו שט בעלמא ושט לעילה וקיימה קמי קודשה ביכו. ואסתי וקט רגל עלמא. והיתמר ולכל תכלית הוא חוקר. והכל עובדוי לאו אינון לטב, אלא לשצאה תדיר ולמעבד כליה בעלמא. Translation: when we say this is the end of darkness, what can put end to the darkness? We all have dark moments. Why do we have dark moments? The world was created by God saying, let there be light. However, at the end of the first stage, it says, and there was a night, there was a day, one day. In the beginning, everything was one. The creation and the creator, the light and the vessel, the infinite light of the creator and all the souls of every creature. Everything was one, in complete oneness and unity. However, we were created in his image, and he imprinted himself in us, and we need to create our own light out of the darkness. And therefore, on the second day, God breaks that harmony, that oneness, and separates and separates and separates. And the end of the second day, God does not say it was good. On the next few days, more and more tools are being created for us to basically be the creator, emulate the creator, having darkness and being able to bring in the light, experiencing chaos and being able to create order, experiencing bitterness and being able to create sweetness out of the bitterness. It took those 6 days, imaginary days, because time did not exist yet the way we know it, only by cause and effect. So what was created in the beginning was the ability for humanity to have free will, the will to create light out of darkness. In this realm, on this like limited realm, we are the ones who can and should create light out of darkness. Not the creator himself. He's not intervening. He's waiting for our call. And therefore, when it says putting an end, a demise, an abrupt death to darkness, this is the end of the left column. What is the left column? Explains Rabbi Ashlag, the commentator. This is the left column that is not included by the right column. This is Satan. This is the angel of death. What is Satan? What is the angel of death? Selfishness, greed, everything that is under that description of left column. What is left column? I desire, I want. Why do you desire? I don't care. I want it now. I want it for me. When we have in each one of us that option to activate the left column, we basically arise the angel of death. We arise Satan. Satan in Hebrew, disturbances, to disturb, blocking the flow of the light. It looks like when you sell your soul to the devil, which means when you're willing to receive just whatever I feel like, and who cares about the future? Who cares about what's going to do to me? What's going to do to anyone, to everyone? That is selling your soul to the devil, which means basically you're willing to take the consequences. You want right now the selfish focus fulfillment without, I don't care about anything. It's not a being. It's not someone. It's not another deity. This is a power that every day, every hour is presenting itself to us so we can awaken the left column, the desire, the urge, the need, the greed, whatever desire we have. However, if we not activate the right column, which means, as I said many times, you always have to start with the right foot. Why do we say that? Because when you start a business, a career, the first thing you need to create is a vision of what is the value that I'm here to give for humanity. to the world. And that's the right column. That's why start with the right foot. But after you start with the right foot, which means you're here to share, to give, that's your vision. Now the next thing is using your left foot, which means, okay, now after I set my vision, I set already the frame of who I am and what I'm here to do, the giving, the sharing, the loving for others, the value that I'm committed to give. Now, how much or what do I need to receive? Why? Because if you walk only with the right foot, you walk in circles. When the left foot is staying in the same place, you need to lift your left foot and to put it down forward also. And that means I need the left column. Yes, what's in it for me? As Rabbi Ashlag is saying, the author of the Sulam commentary on the Zohar, he's saying very clearly, without what's in it for me, there's no fuel to run the engine. The engine will be dead. We need to know what's in it for me. So yes, I'm going to make a living. I'm going to feel my calling. I'm going to feel a meaning. I'm going to get satisfaction because I'm doing something that is worthwhile. That's a left column. But if the left column, which is what's in it for me, is not tied up, bound by the right column, this is Satan and this is the angel of death. So how do you bring an end, a demise to the angel of death? When you bring the right column to control the left column, when you really commit yourself to the covenant each one of us has with the Creator. I'm here to prove myself as somebody who creates light on himself. And that's basically the secret of this parasha. Here, the moment Joseph reached that place, through a lot of prayers and meditation and serving the other prisoners in jail, he brought himself to that place in which he could really bring the light of the Creator down and bring demise to the darkness. The moment he did it, the magic happened. That night, Pharaoh had his dreams, two dreams, one about 7 cows coming out of the Nile, fat-looking cows, and then the 7 skinny cows come out of the Nile, and they swallow up the 7 healthy-looking fat cows. Then the same things about the wheat. Okay, and he wakes up, and he needs an interpretation, and all his wizards and wise men cannot give him a satisfying interpretation to show us a deep inside. Everyone knows the meaning of his dreams. And only then, the wine steward remembers. And he tells Pharaoh, I have to remind my sins to Pharaoh. Pharaoh was upset about me, threw me into jail. There was this Hebrew boy. He interpreted my dream and the baker's dream. We had a dream the same night. And he did it right. He, Joseph, brought it back to my position. And he, Joseph, hung the baker to death, which means not just that he knew how to interpret the dream, he knew also how to control the manifestation of the dream. And then what does it say? Genesis 41:14, Vaishlach Paro, and Pharaoh sent. Vaikra et Yosef, he sent to call for Joseph. Vairitzu minabor, and they rushed him out from the pit. Vaikalach, they shaved him. Vaichalef simlotav, they changed his clothes. to something decent that he can stand in front of Pharaoh with. Vayavo el Paro, and they bring him in front of Pharaoh. And as he comes in front of Pharaoh, Pharaoh, like equals, speaks to him. Vayomer Paro el Yosef, that's verse 15, chapter 41. Chalom chalamti ufoter enoto. I had a dream and I have no one to interpret the dream. ואני שמעתי עליך לאמור תשמע חלום לפתור אותו. And I heard about you that you can hear a dream and interpret it. ויען יוסף, and Joseph answers, verse 16, את פרעה לאמור, he answers Pharaoh saying, בלעדיי אלוהים יענה את שלום פרעה. God will bring peace upon Pharaoh. So Pharaoh tells the dreams, and here we have the famous interpretation when Joseph is saying the 7 fat cows and the 7 fat ears of wheat, they are talking about 7 fat years coming to Egypt. A lot of produce. But the 7 bad-looking cows that swallow up the 7 fat ones, and the 7 really skinny ears of wheat that swallow up the fat ones, it's the same thing. After the 7 years of plenty and bliss, there will be 7 years of famine, that all the bliss and all the yields of the 7 fat years will disappear like they've never been. So he also gives a business plan to Pharaoh. Should take somebody who will oversee all the Egyptian economy. And in the next 7 years, he will buy all the surplus of all the produce, all the grains, and collect them in the places that will be built for that, storage that can last for long years. And then when the 7 years of famine will come, we'll have a lot of food for us and to sell to our competitors. And that's exactly what's happened. However, Pharaoh says, who can run this important project? Only Joseph. And he put Joseph over the whole land of Egypt, all the kingdom, and gives him the full authority to use all the resources of the kingdom in order to get ready to the 7 years of famine. And that's what happens. So in this parasha, we see how, as I said, a Hebrew boy kidnapped, slave in Egypt, not just as a slave in Egypt, in jail. There's nothing lower than that. He wakes up like this one morning and he been rushed out of jail, and at night he goes to sleep in the bed of kings in a palace that belongs to him. Wow, that's an amazing story. The story is our story. It is about how do we can bring in the light of the Creator, and only the light of the Creator can remove the darkness. The darkness is Satan, because Satan, as we said, means to disturb, to block the flow. That's the meaning of the word Satan as a verb in Hebrew. It's about to block. And the only way to remove the blockage is to bring in the light. And the only way to bring in the light is to develop that Emunah, that connection, that teshuvah, return to the light of the Creator. This is not easy. To be able to generate the light of the Creator in every situation we go through, this is not easy, but it's the only way. But you're saying, but logically, and how this problem can be solved? None of your business. Our job is to rise up to the occasion. Our job is to raise our consciousness and connect, attach ourselves to the light of the Creator without any dependency. We have no enemies but our own wrong belief systems. We have no problems and blockages, only our sick way of thinking. When it's full of complaint, darkness, anger, darkness, disappointment, darkness, the moment we participate and we simply identify with our Satan, which means we simply put all our faith over people, over money, over all kinds of mundane things. This is not going to save us. What's going to save us is the light of the Creator. And therefore, every time we find ourselves in a moment that we fall into the three F's: fight, flight, freeze. Either we attack, run away, play dead, doesn't matter. When we allow the illusion of distress, problems, and so on, we allow it to take over, we become its victims, and it controls us. The answer is very simple. Why is it happening to me? Because I have to overcome that Satan. I have to overcome that mindset that my life is dependent in the hands of somebody. Could be a clerk, an official, a policeman, somebody from the IRS, a lawyer, a judge. No. There is the one who puts the words in their mouth after he put the thoughts in their head. And that's the Almighty. The only way I can really step up to the plate, really make that round of a test. It's a test in its opportunity. A test to connect closely to the Creator without any inhibitions. We need the prayers, we need meditations, we need good actions, we need a lot of support till we have that ability. Like even Joseph, it took him 2 years to overcome that idea that he owes to the wine steward, that the wine steward is the one who's going to save him. You know what? He did. But he did because Joseph allowed the light of the Creator to activate the whole scene. It was not enough that the wine steward will remember. It needed Pharaoh to have the dreams. He needed him to remember the dreams. He needed him to listen to all the interpretations and realize that's just talking nonsense. And then to ask, how can I find somebody? And then the wine steward suddenly, who put the thought in the wine steward's mind after 2 years he forgot? When we simply give the upper hand to the light of the Creator, and we bring that light of the Creator into our lives with complete certainty, Emunah, connection, without allowing the slightest fear to come in. Why? I am in the right place. What can happen right now? Whatever will happen is the right thing. When Joseph arrived to that position, wow, he got the power, the highest power. What did he do with it? He made Egypt great. He made Egypt an empire. The Egyptians beforehand did not rule over the Levant, what is today Lebanon, Israel, Jordan. But after Joseph took over, Egypt was strong enough to conquer the Near East, became an empire, thanks to Joseph. Now we have to understand that this is for us, like you feel the darkness. You know, in occasions, if you don't feel darkness, you're not here. On this realm, we're here to experience the darkness, to experience the fall, to experience the pain and the anguish and disappointment, and so on and so forth. However, this is our nisayon, opportunity to perform a miracle. What is the miracle? That naturally we fall for him. For whom? Satan, the dark side of us, the left side of us. Right now, I want it right. I don't care. I hate them. I'm afraid of them, and so on and so on. And I allow the circumstances to control my mindset, my heart. Am I stressed out? I'm running away. I'm attacking. I'm upset. I'm negative. I don't love anyone because I'm stressed out. That is a test, or in Hebrew, nisayon, which means an opportunity for a miracle, nes. So when we rise to the occasion and we let go of all our perceptions and belief system and we place all of it, I have one goal and one goal alone: to bring down the infinite light of the Creator into my world, into my life. When I can, and I experience the light, and I'm focusing on the light, and I'm thankful for the light, and I'm connected to the light, and I feel the light, and I experience the light, then suddenly I see everything in a different light. Why? Because there's a light, the real light. And then with the light comes the knowledge, comes the wisdom, comes the opportunity, the circumstances. Logic is not, the old logic is not valid anymore. And no one is coming. And no logic. And everything is being set up in a different way, the whole scene. Why? Because I call the light in instead of calling my own wits or worshiping other people or money or whatever. That will save me. No, nothing will save you. Only the light can save you if you let it in. Then the salvation will come, the true one, the lasting one. Like in the story of Joseph. He's not a slave anymore. He's not a kidnapped boy anymore. He's not experiencing atrocities by whoever is controlling him. No, he's second to Pharaoh. He is the most powerful person in the whole, one, maybe the biggest economy in the world, Egypt at that time. So we have to understand that there's only one Savior. It's not a human being. It's the light of the Creator. However, we are the only ones who decide if that light will appear to us or not. We cannot complain to God, why can't you send the Messiah? Why can't you send that awesome light to me? The Creator's answer is, of course I'm sending. You're not ready. You didn't build a vessel, and building a vessel is coming out of the five senses, coming out of the logic of the five senses, letting go of all what I thought is right and wrong and so on. Just connect to the infinite light of the Creator, and you will know what to do. You'll become lucky because you open the flow of bliss from the upper worlds. That's what the Zohar is telling us. This is what Parashat Mikkets is about. It's about this Vayiritzu Minabo, and they rushed him. Suddenly, there's no time. 12 years later, there's no time. Take your time. The 12 years, no. No, he's rushed. Verse 5, in the Zohar Parashat Miketz. בואו עץ החיים, בכמה מדרגות הוא מתחלק זה מן זה. The tree of life has many, many levels that is divided into. ענפים, branches, עלים, leaves, קליפות, the bark, the, how do you call it? The outer part of the bark, the shell of the bark, Gufa ilan, the body of the tree, shoashim, roots, akolu ilan. All of them are part of the tree of life. כן, זה the same way. כל מי שמשתדל בתורה, whoever is putting an effort to connect to the Torah, to connect to the tree of life, to connect to the enlightenment, הוא מתקן ומתחזק בעץ החיים. He's getting closer to the tree of life. He's building his connection to the tree of life. He's building the access to the tree of life. וכל בני האמונה, verse 6, וכל בני האמונה, and all the people of Emunah. Emunah means connection. Connection, in simple Hebrew, it's Emunah is faith, but it's not faith. It's about connection. Bonding with the Creator. All the people who bond with the Creator. How you bond with the Creator? You have to emulate the Creator. You need to emulate the right side and do chesed. You have to emulate the left side, which is to put a boundary. And you need to know how to put them together as one without one interfering with the others. This is Emunah. Then you are attached to the light of the Creator. And when you are, the light is coming in, the light cleanses everything. The light makes a way for everything. The light creates the next miraculous state of mind. That state of mind is putting to demise the previous one, because suddenly I can see what I didn't see before. I can understand what I didn't understand before. I can think what I never thought before. This is the transformation. Who created that awesome transformation? I did. Because I fought for it. I tried to find a cure, a solution. However, I brought in the light of the Creator to show me the way. To show me the way. If you don't know this taste, you still didn't start to live. This taste is the taste of life. And therefore, when we study the Torah, the Zohar, when we pray, when we meditate, and we try to get closer to God by positive actions of doing good to others, all of that starts to generate a wave of energy. That wave of energy, when it comes to a critical level, it breaks all the blockages. It brings Satan to demise. And then when it disappears, the Creator can give me whatever he wants to give me. How much does the Creator want to give to each one of us? Infinite. Ein Sof. You have to remember it. Even if somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night, you have to remember it. How much does the Creator want to give and to share with each one of us? Infinite. Why don't feel it? I don't allow it in. I don't believe it's possible. I don't have the right vessel. I didn't develop the right state of mind. Therefore, I'm away. And I'm away with what? What do I mean away? Instead of focusing on the solution, I'm focusing on the problem. I am upset. I'm aching. I am stressed out. I'm afraid. I'm angry. I am lost. Whatever you name it. You're everywhere, but you're nowhere. When is it away? Somewhere? Somewhere. When you are with the light, connected directly to the light of the Creator. That's called Emunah. Only then comes the light, which is superpowers, and suddenly you have the power to deal with the problem. And then with the light, the knowledge comes also the energy, the power. And then you are empowered. And when you're empowered, you could do everything. You can split the Red Sea. You can make the olive oil of one jar that is good for 1 day to burn 8 days. Why? Because it has to. There's no way it's not going to light for 8 days. We need 8 days till the brig. new oil. And we're so excited about lighting the menorah. It was Hanukkah, okay? But there was only a little tiny jar of oil for one day. It lasted for 8 days. 8 means supernatural. To show the solution does not come from within the box. The solution would not come from politics. The solution would not come from trading ideas. The solution has to come from outside the box. In this case, with Joseph, the solution is coming from outside the box, which means if he was offered, like, you know what, go back to Potiphar and serve him for the next 50 years. That could look like a solution, a logical solution, because his wife forgave you because she realized how much money you made for her. Okay, that could be a solution. It was not, because we need to learn. A real solution is an eternal one. And you have to choose that. You have to choose the light over the drive to get upset, the drive to be angry, the drive to whatever, all of these left column Satan emotions. So Joseph, when he really connected to the light with a full responsibility that everything is from the Creator, and whatever is coming at him, he will embrace with love and appreciation. On that, when he came to that place, that night, Pharaoh had his dreams, and in the morning, he was standing in front of Pharaoh, starting a new chapter in his life, in the history of humanity, the chapter of that basically saved Jacob's family from famine, gave them a place to become a nation, Egypt, and then, as planned, the Exodus. Of course, the Egyptian, how do we know it's planned? If you read the story of the covenant of God with Abraham, God is telling Abraham, your offsprings are going to be slaves in another country for 400 years so they can appreciate and build the vessel for the Holy Land and the Torah. But that happened already. Now, simple story. When we connect to the tree of life, when we connect to the light, we're not waiting for anyone to bring us the light. We connect to the light no matter what happens to us. No matter what your logic is telling you. It's a disaster, it's good, doesn't matter. You connect with Emunah to the light of the Creator. When you connect to the light of the Creator, then it's a solution outside the box. It's a real, authentic, true solution. How do we connect to the tree of life? V'chol bnei Emunah, verse 6, in the Zohar, Perush HaSulam, Israel, kulam mitchasekim be'etz hachaim. When the nation of Israel, all of them, are strengthening their connection to the tree of life, kulam nechazim ba'ilan mash, they're all holding on to the tree. Ela mehem beguf shebo. Some of them to the bark. Some of them mehem nechazim ba'anavim. Some of them are holding to the branches. Mehem ba'alim. Some of them are holding on to the leaves. Mehem bashorashim. Some of them are holding on to the roots. ונמצא שכולם נחזים בעץ החיים, all of them are connecting to the tree of life. ואלו העוסקים בתורה, and the ones who are dwelling with the Torah. וכולם נחזים בגופן, and all of them are holding on to the body of the tree. משום זה, מי שעוסק בתורה הוא כאילו נאחז בכל האילן. Which means, when somebody is working with the Torah, whatever he's doing, applying every word, everything from the Torah, then he will be connected to the tree of life. And then he will be holding on to the tree of life. This is basically what we all need to achieve. This is basically what our life should be. This is basically defining a vision and a mission in this world. That's what we have. When we do that, expect greatness in your life. Connecting to the light of the Creator and saying whatever the Creator would like to give, He will give. Leave the vessel open. You pray, you read the Zohar, you do charity, you do everything to get you closer to the Creator. You will not be able to hear the message if you're so filthy with negative thoughts and whatsoever. So basically, what Joseph did, he created a miracle. He simply connected with a full trust to the light, saying, wherever you take me, I'm going to. He allowed by that the angel of death to be killed, of his angel death of that time. And now, when the doors opened, and the whole idea that Joseph is going to become the viceroy of the Pharaoh, and he's going to run the whole project of collecting the yields for 7 years and then selling them for 7 years. This is it. Jackpot. But that did not happen because he was smart. That happened because his Emunah, his connection to God directly, without any doubts. Then the miracle happened. Verse 32 in the Zohar about Vayritzu min habo, and they're rushing out of the pit. Verse 32. Vayishlach Paro vayikra et Yosef vayritzu min habo. So Pharaoh called for Joseph, and they rushed him out from the pit. רבי אבא פתח ואמר, רוצה אדוני את יראיו ואת המחליף מחסדו. He's quoting from Psalms 147, verse 11, saying, God wants the ones who are in awe of him and the ones who are praying for his loving kindness. How much the Creator loves the righteous. Begin the tzadikaya inun avdin shlama leila, because the righteous, they are true, complete servants of God. ועבדי שלמה לטאטא, ועלין קלה בבעלה, ובגין כך קודשה בריחו. אתראי בהו בענון דחליני ועבדין ראותה. And now, those righteous people, they make peace above and below. How come? Because the word for a righteous in Hebrew is tzaddik. And tzaddik comes from the word lehatzdik, to justify. Why is somebody a righteous person? Why is it tzaddik? Because it justifies the Creator. Whatever happens, he says, I know this is only for good. He opens his eyes. He sees a problem, big problems. It's only for the good. And if you're really insisting that it's only for the good, you are connecting with love and awe to the Creator himself. You bring in his light. Then the miracles happen. What's the biggest miracle? The change of heart. That when I rise from a place of pain and doubt and fear and misery and hatred and frustration, I replace it with certainty, connection, full sense of power that no one can touch me. This is the miracle. It's against our nature. That's why it's a miracle, but that's a real miracle. When we do that, when we justify the Creator, which means when we say it's all for the good. I don't see that right now, but I know. Why? Because the Creator is so great and He is the ruler of the universe. If something happened, the creator must be involved. If he allowed it to happen, there should be something good coming out of it. Everything that is sweet was always sweet in the process. No, the sweetest fruits were very bitter till the last days. Okay? Does that mean it was a failure? No. You need patience. You need hard work till you get to the taste. So, when you connect to that state of mind, you work about that state of mind. God is bringing you closer just because you're more similar to Him. Then you become closer to the tree of life. You get hold on to the tree of life. And then the mating is happening. The mating between me and my needs in this realm and the Creator in the upper realm. And when the infinite light of the Creator flows into my soul, into my body, into my needs, everything is possible. Everything. And the Zohar is asking, who are those people? As we said, that's the end of the verse. We read from Psalms 147. And then it says, the ones who are yearning for his loving kindness. Those are the ones who are really working hard to understand the Torah at night. Night, there was a night, there was a day. Which means night is a state of existence of the universe of darkness. No flow of light, but if you can arouse that connection and awaken it within you, you change it for yourself, you change it for everybody. So the ones who are at night could be, night, it's dark. Or at night when things look so dire and so hopeless. And you trust the light of the Creator. You connect to the light of the Creator unconditionally. When you do that, you bring peace between the worlds. Because let's say this guy is a righteous person. Everybody calls him a tzaddik, but when he sees the night, he's complaining to God. God, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And God's answer is, I can't show you half the job. You don't understand it. Very simple. Because everything God is creating He created it for perfection and completion. Our job is to reveal that. Our job is to be wise, and who is wise? Who can see the outcome, who can see the fruit on the tree. They're not ripe yet. It's not time. When they're going to be ripe within a very short time, you have to pick them up, because otherwise, pick them from the trees, otherwise all the insects and the animals will come and eat them up. So the fact that it takes them so long, and finally they get ripe immediately at once, it's a protection device for the owner, for the farmer, so we can pick everything up and then treat all the pests coming to feast on the fruits. But remember, the fruits are not edible almost till the end. So whoever is, and that's what means, whoever is waiting for God's light and love to flow through our action, with certainty, they will see it happen. That's what the verse is saying. However, when you're not trusting the light of the Creator, and He tries trusting your wits, you're trusting your actions, you're trusting your actions that are motivated by anxiety, that's not going to work. And the Zohar continues, we'll finish with that, verse 49, פתח ואמר, כל הדברים יגעים ולא יוכל איש לדבר, לא תשבע עין לראות ולא תמלא אוזן משמוע. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Everything is tired. No one can really speak. The eye can really see, and the ear cannot really hear. What does it mean everything is really tiring? There are things that are not so tiring. What does it mean that the person cannot speak and the eye cannot see and the ear cannot listen? What does it mean? Why these? And we say, and the answer is because the eyes and the ears, they're not really in the person's hand, control. You know, many times you hear stuff you're not supposed to hear. You see stuff you're not supposed to see. You hear stuff that makes you confused. You see things that make you really upset. But these connect or include all the forces that are in a human being. And he gives us a message that all those three, they cannot really complete their vision and perceive, understand everything. And that's why when it says everything is tired, it means that the eyes, the ears, and the mouth, they are not strong enough to see, hear, and speak, describe what really is happening. It's all tired and limited. And then it says, and there's nothing new under the sun. Meaning, says the Zohar, you don't even think that they will change any time in the future. Ma shayahu sheyeh, whatever was will always be, will be. Ma shenasahu sheyaseh, whatever was done will always be done. En kol chadash tachat Hashem, there's nothing new under the sun. However, when we rise through Emunah, through visualization, prayer, the desire of the heart to connect, not to a solution that will save me, to connect to the tree of life, to connect to the light of the Creator, to invite the light of the Creator to come down into ourselves and to shine to ourselves and to the whole world. Only then, from above the sun, nothing will change under the sun, but this is above the sun. The infinite light, connecting to the infinite light of the Creator that is about one thing. The fact that the world was created with one purpose. More than a calf wants the milk, his mother cow wants to feed him the milk. This is the one and only thing. When we connect to that experience, rising outside the box, the miracle happened. We'll feel certainty. We'll know what to do. We'll have the power to do it. And then we'll be in an instance, rushed out of the pit. We'll be in a new world, in a new place, in a new situation. While the darkness came to its demise, and a new movie, a new chapter with more light will appear. Hanukkah was about the same thing. Logically, this was the end. This was the end. The Hellenistic Empire that was centered, there were a few of them, that one was centered in Damascus, decided that you cannot be Jewish anymore. It disturbs the kingdom. To remove anything that is connected to the Torah. And they had the might, they had the power, they had the wits, they had everything. And there is a nation of Jews who for centuries did not fight, did not have an army. They were always an autonomous region in the Persian Empire and then the Hellenistic empires. one after another. And now they fight that colossus with the professional army, but they connected to the light. They brought that awesome infinite light down. That's what the lights of Hanukkah are about. When you bring that light from above down below, and you're totally engulfed with that light, and you give place in your heart and in your mind only for that light, everything can happen because you allow at that time the light to destroy the darkness, Satan, whatever is a trouble. And a new movie will start outside any imagination and logic. That is Parashat Mikkets. That is the secret of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. And we need really to have that connection, especially nowadays that are so confusing. Good luck to